Hello everyone, I'm Wildcat Johnson with Talkin Headz News, and today is Thursday, August 27, 2020. CNN is under fire after last night for labeling the protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin as being, quote, mostly peaceful, unquote. This follows another incident on Tuesday when a graphic reading 8 p.m. curfew ordered after violent protests over police shooting of unarmed black man in Wisconsin was on the screen for only a moment before it was taken down, then replaced only seconds later with the word violent removed. CNN and other mainstream media have been playing down the violence and protests around the country for a long time. When Antifa thugs wearing masks were burning buildings, stabbing police horses and looting, they regularly referred to the violence as being essentially peaceful, while referring to actual peaceful demonstrations in support of President Trump as, quote, potentially violent racist demonstrations, unquote. If anyone needs further proof that CNN and most of the other mainstream news agencies are little more than propaganda machines for the Democratic far left, I would suggest that they pay close attention to the coverage given to AOC and her cohorts in what is referred to as the Squad. Personally, I cannot imagine how anyone who believes it could be possible to stop cows from farting could ever be elected to public office in the first place. Fox News host Tucker Carlson is back on the hot seat. Yesterday, after the arrest of Kyle Rittenhouse in Antioch, Illinois for the shootings that took place in Kenosha during protests on Tuesday night, Carlson tweeted that, since Kenosha's own authorities had abandoned the city and were simply letting it burn, it shouldn't really surprise anyone that a 17-year-old with a rifle might decide he needed to do what was necessary to maintain order. He also said that with all the violence and looting, no one should be that surprised that it accelerated to murder before the night was over. Left-wing commentators claim Carlson is trying to excuse and justify Rittenhouse's actions, and that he is encouraging vigilante violence. Carlson is no stranger to this sort of rhetoric, and has been accused of making racist and inflammatory statements in the past. This seems to be part of the Democratic game plan, to accuse anyone who points out an obvious flaw in their agenda of racism and un-American comments. I won't be that surprised to see my own name being blasted around the left-wing propaganda machines sometime in the future. Kenosha authorities have identified the police officer who shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back while he was trying to get into his car. Officer Rustin Shesky, who has been with the Kenosha, Wisconsin Police Department for 7 years, grabbed Blake's shirt and opened fire into his back, striking him 7 times as he tried to get into the car with his children. That's right. His children were already in the car. Does it strike anyone as odd that the mainstream news media isn't mentioning the fact that the police officer was firing a weapon and could easily have struck any of those children, possibly killing them? After identifying the officer, authorities also claimed that Jacob Blake has admitted that he had a knife in his possession at the time. Careful examination of the video of the shooting does not show a knife in his hand, or any form of threatening move toward the officers. With several police officers present, it should have been possible to subdue Mr. Blake without resorting to deadly force. Oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking of the way America used to be, right? Talking Heads News is brought to you today by the Out and About Club. The Out and About Club will launch on October 1st to bring independent businesses and customers together, offering savings to customers and greater profits to their business members. This new startup will begin hiring during September and is expected to employ more than 2,000 people by December 1st. You can learn more about them at their website, outandabout.club, and you can find the link in the description on this video. And now it's time for my 2 cents, the part of the show where I get to pretend to be a celebrity and express my opinions on things I'm probably not qualified to talk about. For today, that's going to be about what everyone is terming cancel cultures. Canceling is what happens when somebody takes offense at your words or actions, and so they launch a public protest against you in an effort to get others to ignore what you say and hopefully hurt you financially in the process. It's been around for quite a while. Just look at what happened to the Dixie Chicks several years ago, when people took offense at one of their comments. Radio stations stopped playing their music and their record sales dropped dramatically. Speaking of the Dixie Chicks, that comment was a simple expression of their displeasure at the election of George W. Bush. They said something disparaging about the president, and were quickly and soundly canceled. Compare this to today, when celebrities are constantly making statements that are much more denigrating regarding our current president, and it seems odd that no one wants to cancel any of them. Lately, the entitled liberals of the left wing seem to think they have the right to cancel anyone for any reason whatsoever. This canceling takes the form of cyberbullying, body shaming and other types of highly public attacks, all designed to make everyone who sees them think you are a despicable person, or that your company is particularly evil. I find this incredibly troubling. Apparently, those who practice cancel culture have not read that old, seemingly useless document we call our Constitution. The First Amendment to the Constitution guarantees each of us the right of self-expression, and I don't see anything in it that requires me to be careful not to offend someone else. It states very simply that there can be no law or rules that, among other things, limits my freedom of speech. Trying to cancel me is simply trying to limit my freedom of speech. Sooner or later, someone is going to try. I decided that I will simply get things out of the way and express my feelings on that now. Here goes. Attention cancel culture fanatics. Kiss my ass. That's my 2 cents. And that's it for Talkin Headz news today. We hope to see you tomorrow. And we hope you will subscribe.